WWE 2k17 hit the shelves this week. Mickie James making her WWE return, and TNA's doors virtually going to be slammed closed. And there's absolutely nothing they're going to be able to do about it. Welcome back to the Nightmare Room right here on the SledgeHammer Sports Network. I'm Nic Nightmare. Let's get it started. Alright, so WWE 2k17 hits the shelves this past Tuesday. I was there at midnight on Monday to pick up mine at my local GameStop. And so far, I'm colored impressed, I would say. It's nothing that drastically different in comparison to last year's iteration as far as gameplay is concerned. It's pretty much all the same up until you get into the crowd or into the backstage. But, you know, the control scheme is the same. The look and feel of the game is generally the same. I already have a few minor things that I would complain about, really being that at the start of your career, you know, you do start in the Performance Center. And spoiler alert here, if you haven't played it yet. But in my career mode, you start off at the Performance Center. And you end up facing off in a match against Samoa Joe. And from that point, you are immediately promoted to the main roster. Now, I was disappointed at this because I was looking forward to having an NXT run. I don't know if somehow I'm going to be booked to fail and demoted and have to go to NXT, which I kind of hope happens now, storyline-wise, as far as my career goes. Because I was looking forward to doing an NXT run with this new career mode engine that they're going for, more realistic, more cutscenes, more promos. You know, that's the biggest change, the promos. You get to do promos, which I'm still trying to figure out how that really works, because they give you some choices and you pick choices and you try to make it flow as you would want your shows to flow. You know, continuous. You don't want to be all over the place. You want to say something and have a point, and it's kind of hard in the choices that they give you, because the line that's there could reflect what you might think you would want to say, but then he kind of turns it into something else that it doesn't really mean. I don't know how really to describe it. You can play for yourself, and you could let me know. You could agree or disagree with me in the comments below. If you have any tips or tricks, you could help me out. Let me know what the hell I'm doing wrong. I don't know. I just feel like I'm not doing it right. I am really just getting started. I've only just had my first match on Raw. As I said, you were immediately promoted to the main roster. And, you know, last year's game, you went through NXT, but when I did go through NXT, it seemed to be like I was stuck in hell, because I just kept having to fight the same four people over and over and over again. And I attained the number one ranking to be the number one contender, and then for months after, and match after match against Finn Balor and Sami Zayn and Finn Balor and Sami Zayn, and these guys don't go down easy. You know, these are matches that are going to end up being 15, 20 minutes, no matter how good your stats might be. It's Sami Zayn. You know, it's Finn Balor. It's Samoa Joe. These guys are going to bring their all even in the game. They're going to be set up to destroy you. And they're going to be set up to keep coming back. And it's going to take 2 or 3 finishes just to get rid of them. But be that as it may, I was looking forward to this new experience in NXT, maybe not being such a little bit of a horror film for me. But it doesn't seem like that's the direction they went. You have this match with Samoa Joe. You impress Matt Bloom, Prince Albert, whoever you want to call him. You know, you impress him enough to make the main roster, I guess. I mean, if you end up beating Samoa Joe, maybe you're supposed to lose. Maybe if you lose to Samoa Joe, you go to NXT. I don't know. Somebody out there, if you know, help me out and give me a few tips and tricks if you have. But all in all, a solid presentation. 2 thumbs up from this guy. You know, it was a very, very good packaged game. I've been enjoying it. You know, I'm trying to get into my universe, the WWE Universe mode, whatever it's called. You know, it's a little much to try to do both. So I think I just got to finish my career mode, and then I'll try to focus on that. I'm going to try to do my own shows, maybe even put some right up here. I've already recorded a couple of matches that I got to record some commentary on. I don't know whether I should do it as myself and just have fun with it, or, try to do something a little more involved like I did with Gerard St and Vito the Guido. If you haven't listened to those, please go back and do so. Let me know which one you like best so I can continue giving you guys the good stuff that you like to hear right here on the Nightmare Room, exclusively on the SledgeHammer Sports Network. You will notice that we are now the SledgeHammer Sports Network on YouTube, and we do feature the SledgeHammer Wrestling Show and the Nightmare Room and What Should Have Happened, our 2K generated matches with commentary, all available for you to check out right here. So please hit that subscribe button, hit that thumbs up, let me know you like what you're listening to, and let's get into the news. And the news today really is not much. We could talk about Goldberg and Brock Lesnar, but why? Because I don't think anybody really is going to care. He's going to come out, he's going to pop the crowd, he's going to maybe pop the Raw rating, which is really what it's all about at the end of the day. They just want to get the big rating. They're going to have Goldberg and him at Survivor Series. There's rumors of him turning heel. Goldberg, that is, turning heel. There's no need for no heels. These guys are legends. They don't need a definition. They don't need a distinction. It's Brock Lesnar and Goldberg. That's all you need. Nobody needs to be defined as a hero or a villain or whatever. It just is what it is. Come in, let it happen, and that's going to be it. It's going to happen. He's going to go away. There's rumors he might come back for WrestleMania. I don't know who his opponent would be. I mean, no matter who you would put him against, it would just not work, I think. Maybe Kevin Owens would be cool. Put over Kevin Owens against Goldberg. If they probably have their way, it'll probably be Roman Reigns. I would do Kevin Owens. If you're not going to throw him at Brock, throw him at Goldberg. Let him get the win over the legend so he can walk around talking trash how he beat Goldberg. I would love that. That would be phenomenal. I just booked it better, as usual. But nobody knows where that's going to go, and it's not really that big, so we're not going to talk any more about it. We're going to move on to some very exciting stuff I am super excited. Mickie James, former Women's Champion and Divas Champion, former TNA Knockouts Champion, and 8 times in total, as my notes here will tell me. Former World Champion Mickie James, making her return to the WWE, surprisingly, to NXT, to face Asuka at NXT TakeOver in Toronto around Survivor Series weekend. This is a phenomenal announcement. I'm a little disappointed only in the fact that she didn't come to Smackdown, because I would love to see her throw down with Alexa Bliss or Naomi or, who else do we even got over there? I'm drawing a blank right now. Nikki Bella versus Mickie James has never happened. That would be fucking amazing. This new Nikki Bella that can actually wrestle, and Mickie James, who is a female legend in the business. It's great stuff. It could write itself. So my hope at the end of the day for this whole thing is that Mickie James ain't going anywhere. I know she's not going to want a full-time schedule. She just had a baby with, former TNA talent Magnus. Maybe he comes up, too. Maybe he ends up in NXT. And they can have the kid in the back in the trailer. Mom's watching him during dad's segment. Dad watching him during mom's segment. And, the family's happy. NXT, they could do that. They're based in Florida. They don't move around that much. Maybe she'll stick around NXT for a while. Boost to that division. Maybe a series of matches with Asuka is in the cards, and they're just starting it off there at NXT Toronto TakeOver. It's going to be great. She is a phenomenal talent. She's always been one of my favorites. And I can't imagine a better opponent for Asuka right now. Nobody else in the former Divas division that's not Trish Stratus or Lita would even have mattered. Who are you going to bring in? Victoria? Maybe she could pull off a good match. Maybe she can get Asuka over. Would be a good win for her. I mean, Victoria was a very dominant personality when she was around. She was a hardcore woman. She, had her turn with the Women's Championship. But, she's not in the same light as a Mickie James. And I mean no disrespect. It's just Mickie James's talent and her career speaks for itself. She's just one of the top women who have ever graced the squared circle. And to have her come in here to have this very special match at this very special, because NXT takeovers are always to be very special. They're booked to be very special. And this is a continuation of that tradition. Just like they brought in guys like Bobby Roode at a takeover, guys like Jushin Thunder Liger was brought in at a takeover just to booster the surprise factor, even though we all knew he was coming, but you don't know until you see him, and then there he was. And the same thing's going to happen. We're all getting excited that Mickie James is coming, and this match with Asuka is going to be something else, because Asuka is an amazing talent, and you put two amazing talents with contradicting styles and different personas in there, and it makes for magic, and I cannot wait for this to go down. Luckily, it's only a few weeks away. We are now mid-October. Thanksgiving, everything's rolling around. So NXT TakeOver Toronto Survivor Series weekend. Mickie James making her big return, and hopefully it's not the last we see of her. I mean, if she sticks around in NXT, great. If they bring her up to the main roster and dump her on Raw, she's done. She's going to end up leaving just like everybody else, just like the Dudleys and everybody else who have come and tried to make their next run and tried to be, a contributing source of energy and fun and maybe ideas and bring in fresh, new ways to do things, and everything just gets shut down when you're on Raw. And if she was brought to SmackDown, the exact opposite would happen. It would be almost like an injection of female power and just something that the women could play with, and something that they could play off of, and something to make their division even more special than the one on Raw, because it already is. We don't have the big three names of Sasha, Charlotte, and Becky. That's so hard to say back to back for me. Sasha, Charlotte, just too many shs. Anyway, let's not stray from the point. Sasha and Charlotte and Becky, Bailey, the big three names on Raw, that's all they have, and everybody on SmackDown is pretty much on an even playing field, so it feels more like a division and not just like the Alexa Bliss and Becky and Nikki Bella show, because that's what it feels like on Raw. We got the Bailey, Sasha, and Charlotte show, and that's their women's division. Nia Jax being wasted, nobody else is even there. Nobody relevant is even there. Summer Rae's, she's been tweeting lately. Where the hell have you been? Why aren't you on the show? Is it just creative? We don't know what to do with you, Summer Rae, so you just stay looking pretty until we're ready for you. Nia Jax, I don't know, we're kind of scared of you. You're not, what? What could it be? What could we make them say? Oh, you're not pretty enough. You're not, you're too scary. What is it? Why draft her to Raw and let her sit there for the last few months and do nothing but have a few squash matches against a few nobodies, and we've seen nothing of Nia Jax? She deserves more than that. But maybe that's where Mickie James comes in. Maybe she comes in and starts challenging these new girls, giving them something to do. I can't wait. I'm excited. Our other top story, and we've been talking a lot about this lately, and it's almost like a chore for me to even do this, because it's inevitable that TNA wrestling is done. We don't know what the future really holds. All we do know is that Dixie Carter has fucked everything up beyond any reparation. And this is the reason why. The biggest problem, at least in my opinion, being that they owe so much back taxes to the state of Tennessee, where their company is mainly based from, that the state can take the company from Dixie. It's reached that point, that it's that sensitive of a situation, that if they feel that they could get anything out of it, they can pretty much tell Dixie Carter and Impact Wrestling, or what the hell is the name of the company? Impact Ventures. Too bad. It's ours now. You owe us $3-4 million, whatever it is, in taxes alone. They're in debt over their head. I think the total between the taxes and outside other sources and shit was like $3.4 million. Billy Corgan is suing them now. We don't really know the details of why. There's rumors that it's because of some sort of dispute in the music department. I don't know. I don't care. He was the lead candidate to come in and try to save everything, and they just fucked all that up too. Because now he's suing the company, he's suing Dixie Carter personally, he's suing her husband personally, he's suing everybody individually in a different capacity, and the company as a whole itself. Why? What the hell happened? What was that breakdown? There was your one shot to have somebody who has the liquid assets to actually maybe step in and help you, and he was willing to do so, and he wanted to be a big part of the company, and what did you do? What did you do? Nobody knows. Nobody knows the details, but you did enough for this guy to turn around and want to file suit and a restraining order against all of these entities that we previously listed, Dixie Carter being the most notable of them all. What the hell is going on over there? We also know that they have taped, up until the end of the year. So they're going to be on TV at least until the end of 2016 in some capacity. There has been reports and rumors going around that the final episode of TNA Impact is being filmed at the Hardy compound in North Carolina, where he has done the delete or decay and the final deletion, that whole area. He's going to apparently have a tag team invitational, which is going to be open to anybody. So they can have guys from the WWE come in and do this. They can have guys from Ring of Honor. They're reaching out to guys from New Japan, like the Briscoe brothers. If you follow Matt Hardy on Twitter, #BrokenMattHardy, he's been tweeting that he wants to buy TNA. There's so many people that have interest, but Dixie Carter has 70% stake in this company, and she reportedly does not want to let go of this company whatsoever. And even though it's in such financial disarray, why would you not look for any opportunity to try to fix and mend this disaster that you have created? It just doesn't make sense to me. The whole situation is very shady and full of all kinds of gray areas that I don't understand. What the hell is going on down there in Tennessee with TNA, with Impact? It doesn't make any fucking sense. TNA, over the last few months, has had its best resurgence in years. When they switched from Spike TV to the Pop Network, and I think there was another network in between there somewhere, I don't know. They, made choices to release guys like AJ because they couldn't afford to pay him. And they lost a lot of their talent, and it really just became tough to watch over there. There was nothing really going on. But this last year or so, with the rise of guys over there like Ethan Carter and, the always having the tease of somebody from the WWE might show up. Bobby Lashley has been there. He's been great over there. I mean, nothing spectacular, but he's been great. He's not bored me to tears. His whole persona, his MMA fighter thing, this is what they probably would have wanted to do with Brock Lesnar if Brock Lesnar was full-time. But he's not. This is what they could have had if Brock Lesnar was more willing to be part of the show, and it was working. Bobby Lashley ended up winning every title because who's going to beat him? It just worked. I was really enjoying it the last year. We had the rise of guys like Eli Drake. Dummy, yeah. I love Eli Drake. My favorite guy in TNA. Until, the whole resurgence of Matt Hardy. And the rebirth of Matt Hardy. And the deletion of Jeff Hardy. That just made it even better. I've always been a fan of Abyss. So when I tuned back in and he was part of the Decay with Crazy Steve and Rosemary, I was into it. I don't care. I love it. It may be horrible, but I love it. The wrestling fan in me just accepts it and loves it, and there's nothing I could do to fight it. It appeals to me, it entertains me, and I wish the WWE were doing more stuff like it. They look at it as cartoony and campy, and they're trying to be real. Cartoony and campy works in small doses if you do it right, and TNA is proof of that. The Decay has been doing their thing for years. It hasn't even gotten boring to me. It's a little crazy, it's a little cringe sometimes, but it works. And when something works, you got to stick with it. And they have been. Under Billy Corgan's creative finger, he's allowed Matt Hardy total creative control of his own character. Do you think WWE is going to let him do that when he finally shows up? I don't think so. I think they're going to ruin it. Unless they're smart enough to just let him go. Here, do whatever you want. Do what you were doing down there because that's what the fans want you to see. That's what we all pay to see. It's what we want to see him do now. It's a brilliant character. It's a brilliant transformation. And with the inevitable closing of TNA's doors, Vince is going to scoop up that network, probably very similarly to how he scooped up the WCW stuff for the library. He's going to pay like a few cents on the dollar for something that's now owned probably by the state of Tennessee. It's a crazy story, and it continues to get crazier and crazier, and I don't know where it's going to end up, you guys. Hopefully, all the stuff ends up in the hands of the WWE, so we get it on the network as it's kind of been teased. As we talked about in last week's episode, the TNA library, if it goes there, will be featured on WWE Network. They had it in a spreadsheet as part of a $14.99 package. It was a kind of a feeler thing that they threw out there, like a would you pay $14.99 if it included this? And I definitely would, as I said before. What else can we talk about? Not too much. I mean, I didn't do a Smackdown review this week. Sometimes life just gets in the way, you guys. You just gotta do what you gotta do, and there was no time for one this week. I recently changed my schedule at work. Not that you guys care about that, but it's made it a little more difficult to do the Tuesday night Smackdown reviews, but I'll just have to do them that night. So if my voice for the Smackdown reviews seems a little different, that might be because I'm trying to be quiet so my kid could stay sleeping. But that's to come. You know, we're going to start doing those probably right after the show, which means they might be up at some point every Wednesday, like they're supposed to be, and I apologize if anybody was waiting for that. I don't want to get into it now, because we could spend a whole half an hour talking about how good SmackDown was. But we're not going to waste all that time. We'll just highlight one thing really quick, and I just want to go on record to say that that whole thing with the guy with the face, what the heck was his name? Let me look over here. James Ellsworth. James Ellsworth has had quite an interesting story, and now he has a pinfall victory over the World Heavyweight Champion. Now, you could fall on one of the two sides of this, which is some people hate it because AJ Styles should not have lost no matter what to a guy like that. And some people, like me, come on the other side where I absolutely love it because it makes perfect, complete sense. There is nothing about that whole segment where you believe James Ellsworth was supposed to beat AJ Styles. Had it not been for the blatant and very, very intentional miscommunications of the special guest referee, Dean Ambrose, that is the key point of the whole thing. That is the storyline that was advanced. The whole thing with James Ellsworth, it happened. This is what happens. It happened back in the day. You had guys like the 1-2-3 Kid, who we all know now as X-Pac, Sean Waltman, came out of nowhere and beat Razor Ramon. And he shouldn't have. And in that case, it was a clean victory. There was no shenanigans. He just caught a quick pinfall on the established guy. Made a superstar. Did we just make James Ellsworth? I can't even say his fucking name. Ellsworth. It's not that hard. What's my fucking problem? James Ellsworth. Maybe if I was fucking British, I'd be able to say it better. Ellsworth. Oh, maybe it does work better. I don't fucking know. We're just going to call him James right now. This guy, James. Did we make him a superstar overnight? I don't think so. I mean, he's already gotten some kind of reaction from the universe, and it's clearly because of his look, and there's nothing wrong with that. We're supporting the underdog. It's a Daniel Bryan thing. Fine. I don't dislike it. I don't care that he lost. Because, yeah, it just says that he beat him in the record book. But when you watch the show and you know what happened, it makes sense. Dean Ambrose screwed over AJ Styles. That's it. That's what that whole segment was about. It wasn't about Ellsworth beating AJ Styles. It was about Dean Ambrose screwing over AJ Styles. And that is wrestling television. That is brilliant writing. It's fantastic. It's refreshing to see things like this are still capable of happening. Why they're not happening on Raw, I'll never know. This is the type of thing that should be happening constantly. Story development, character development. It's okay for people to lose if it's being written in a way to make it make sense. That's all we want, is for things to make sense while we're watching our wrestling shows. You're going to sit here and you're going to ask me, well, why do you keep watching if you're going to talk shit about it? Well, that's what it means to be a wrestling fan. Think about it. What is the word fan short for? Fanatic. Fanatic is pretty much just another word for crazy and psychotic. We love our sports teams and our pro wrestlers and our wrestling itself so much that we're fanatical about it. So we get angry and we can talk trash about it because it's in essence it's ours. Like a person like me who have watched for over 30 years, it's my show. Like I watch it every fucking week. I've been watching it since I'm a little twerp. Whether it was Saturday afternoon, Saturday night's main event, or a Sunday pay-per-view, I was there. Wrestling, I'm a fan of. It belongs to the fans, so it's mine. It's not mine and mine alone, it's yours as well. And for the other millions and millions of us in the universe, it's ours. But it doesn't feel like ours when we're watching a show like Raw. It feels a little more like ours now on Smackdown, because they're doing things that a wrestling fan wants to see. They have more to gain by beating Raw. They're taking this competition seriously. It's obvious. SmackDown wants to be the A show, and they are well on their way. They got their first few footsteps out of the gate were a little bit of a flop, but after their first brand exclusive pay-per-view and all the shows and the No Mercy that has followed since then, it's the way to go. They've been doing it perfectly. They've been doing wrestling, and that's why we're all here. That's why we sit through bad Monday night shows. That's why we've been coming back for good Tuesday night shows. That's why we sit through it all, because we're fanatics. And we love wrestling. I love wrestling. I don't know about you. If you're here, you probably do. And I want to thank you for being here as usual. This has been The Nightmare Room, episode number 7. Right here on the SledgeHammer Sports Network, exclusively on YouTube.com. I love you guys so much. Thank you for tuning in. Make sure you tune in Tuesday for our Monday Night Raw review. We will have a Smackdown review this weekend, I promise. Not this weekend, but this week, rather. And thank you again. I can never thank you guys enough. If you're sitting here and you're listening to good old Nic Nightmare, right here with his old boy Blue, the snowball microphone, there's no better way to spend a good half an hour bullshitting about wrestling with this guy right here. I love you guys. Thank you so much, and have a good one.